So I believe you just testified that Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard moved in shortly after you moved in, is that right?
Yes.
And which penthouse did they move into?
Penthouse 3.
And then you testified, I believe, that someone named Rocky Pennington moved in?
Yes.
Who was Rocky Pennington?
Amber Heard's friend from Texas, and I think they made, I don't know, I'm not sure if they told me that they moved out there together or something like that, but yeah, her friend.
And later you said that her boyfriend moved in with her. What was his name?
Josh Drew.
And which unit did they live in?
Penthouse 1.
And I believe you also testified that Whitney moved in. Who was Whitney?
Whitney Heard. She's married, so she's got a different last name. I'm not sure what it is. But Amber's sister, Whitney.
And which of the units did Ms. Heard's sister live in?
4.
Can you tell the jury a little bit about your relationships with Ms. Heard, Ms. Pennington, Mr. Drew, and Ms. Heard's sister?
Oh, yeah. I was friends with all of them. I loved them all. They all treated me with respect. It was great. You know, I'm an old-time friend of Johnny's, living there, and we were looking out for each other. We became great friends. I fell in love with all of them.
When you moved in to Penthouse 2, you were working on an art show with Mr. Depp, right?
Yeah, that's the entire reason that I'm there, is to work and put together this art show.
Did you have a time frame that you expected to be able to put on that art show?
At first, when we first powwowed this idea, when, you know, we talked about, all right, what do we do? You know, what's this show going to be? How many paintings is it going to be? And we came up with a number. Okay, so there's going to be a certain body of work. I'm not a known person. I'm just some schnook painter. If I was a famous painter, I could make 5 paintings, and the room will fill up. But so we decided, okay, like 25 pieces of work, large scale, and Johnny says, hey, how long do you think this will take? I said, I've never done it before. I don't know, maybe a few months.
And were you able to complete the paintings in a few months?
No, it took me in order to make 2 large scale paintings. It took me like almost 2 months. And I'm start freaking out, going, I'm only got 2 paintings, and all right, I got to do 25. I said a few months. So I ended up going to Johnny's place and saying, hey, look, dude, this is going to take a lot longer than a few months. I could only make 2 paintings.
And how did Mr. Depp react?
He looks at me and he starts laughing and he says, Ike, don't worry, I do not care. I just want you to paint however long it takes. I want you to paint every day.
During the course of the time that you were living at the Eastern Columbia building, did Mr. Depp ever give you any money?
Yeah.
How much did he give you?
Over a period of 4 years of the patronship, I ballpark calculated probably around 100,000.
And how did you come up with that amount?
Well, from the first get-go, when I said, hey, look, I need dough, you know, to buy stuff and to, you know, do this, I ended up getting an envelope the next day with $5,000 in it. And then I budgeted it and stretched it out, and, you know, and so every few months I'd get an envelope. It could have that I didn't know if it was going to be the same amount, but it ended up being the same amount, which was wow. So basically around $5,000 every few months. So in a year, it's 20 grand. But then also there was a period, maybe a year or two, might have been that it was 5 times I had to ask for dough, or it was 4. And then on top of it, So, so right there, that's could be 80 grand or 90 grand. And then on top of that, I ended up getting a herniated disc. He sent me to the doctors to get an MRI and see the doctor, get an MRI, and there was 10 weeks of therapy that he covered. So I throw that in there too. And I ended up coming up with the figure of 100 grand. Could be a little less, could be a little more.
What was your understanding of whether Mr. Depp intended to be paid back for that money that he provided to you?
There's no, that's not even the thought of being paid back. This is something that he wanted to see happen. This is something he invested in. He knew he was going to spend money to make it happen, for me to survive and paint and create this thing that he wanted to see because he liked the art. And so there was no payback, and the whole thing was about him selling the art, so that way I keep all the money. He didn't expect anything. He was doing this as a friend, as he's done with many other friends.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay, and move to strike.
All right. I'll sustain the last sentence of his statement.
Could explain to the jury that striking means
All right, we've done that, but that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Baruch, did there come a time when you decided that you planned to pay Mr. Depp back?
Oh yeah, that for me, when he's told me he had a money situation going on. For me, it was like this guy just changed. He's been making it possible for me to live and work and make product, and I'm by that expense, I'm part of the problem. It's like, how do I help him? How can I help him? I mean, he's sharing his sandwich with me, you know? It's like, how do I share that my sandwich with him? Give him that half to make something up. You don't not do anything. And so the only thing I got is paintings. So I stood up when he's telling me what he's telling me about his money situation. And for me, I said, hey, if these things ever sell, we got to split this 50-50, and I ain't taking no for an answer. Something. I got to put something into this. So for me, I looked at it like he has to get something back.
Mr. Baruch, during your time living at the Eastern Columbia building, did you develop a relationship with the defendant in this case, Ms. Heard?
Yeah.
And did you get along with Ms. Heard?
I loved her. I fell in love with her just like Johnny fell in love with her. I fell in love with her. She's totally respectful, gracious to me, that she's got great teeth, that she treated me with complete respect. Anytime I walk into the humor-wise, total locker room humor, demented humor, totally laughed at, the jokes, made the jokes, totally got along with her. Every time I walked into their place, Isaac, you want something to eat? Isaac, you want something to drink? Every time. There's only one time I remember that she didn't offer, because I walked in and she's in the kitchen at the counter and she's doing a beauty facial mask, and so she can't offer me. And I'm going, hey, is that something that can help me? And she looked at me and she goes, no. And I'm laughing, and then she laughed after because she didn't realize she was making a joke. So, yeah, I loved her.
Mr. Baruch, did Ms. Heard ever visit you in your penthouse?
Yeah.
Do you recall the first time that she visited you there?
Yes.
When was that?
The first time is that it's in March when they moved in, and they were there for a couple of days, and I didn't even know. And Johnny had called me, says, hey, come over, meet my girl, and so I did, and then the next day they came over to my place for the first time to see how I had set up the art studio, lights, and, you know, just what's my painting set up and stuff, and to look at other paintings. And they walked in, and I remember the first thing she said was, "I hope we didn't keep you up last night because of all the yelling." And I looked at her and I says, "No, these walls are like 3 feet thick. I don't hear diddly squat."
How did she seem when she said that to you?
Well, she's semi-joking and inquisitive, you know, like they did, you know, to find out.
Did you ever see them argue?
Yes,
How many times?
probably like twice.
Okay. Can you describe the arguments that you witnessed?
The first argument that I remember was walking in. It was a telephone argument. Johnny's at the kitchen table and he's screaming about something, and on the other line, because it's on speaker, and he's talking with the phone at the phone. The other person is Amber, and that she's in New York, and he's at the kitchen table, and they're arguing, and he's going, "Who is it? Who is it?" And she's saying, "Oh, baby, come on, please don't. What are you doing, baby? Why are you being like this, baby?" And this went on for a little while, and I'm listening, and then he hangs up. She calls back again, and it's the same thing. "Who is it? What's going on? Who is it?" And she's saying, "Oh, come on, baby, don't be. What are you doing, baby?" And then hang up the phone again. The third time it happens, I'm saying there's no solution in this conversation. I grabbed the phone from him and I says, "Hey, Amber, this is Isaac. Listen, this conversation is now over." And I hung up the phone. And she didn't call back again, and he went to the couch and went to bed.
I believe you said you saw them argue twice. Was there another time that you saw them argue?
I ended up going over, and there's at the kitchen table is Johnny, is Amber, is Rocky, and Josh. And and I'm going, "What are you guys doing?" And they're hanging out, and they're trying to plot to figure out a way how to get rid of Whitney to not live there anymore. And I felt bad. I like Whitney. Says, you know, "Oh, well, you know, that's going to be a drag." And you know, "What are you plotting? You know, how do you figure out? Hey, lend your sister some dough and let her move out." But, you know, they're trying to figure something out, something differently or whatever. At one point, so there was a point, Johnny got completely, you know, flustered and frustrated, and he got up and he walks away. And as he's walking away, he says, "Figure it out." And that was it. That was the whole thing. I don't know if you want to call it, I don't think you might call that an argument, but.
Your Honor, I'm about to switch gears a little bit. It might be a good time for a mid-morning break.
Perfect, thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go ahead and have you take your morning recess for 15 minutes, okay? Just remember to not talk to anybody and do not do any outside research, okay? And we'll see you back here in 15 minutes.
Do I
You can
stand?
stay right here, that's fine, you don't have to stand. Thank you. All right. Sir, I just want to remind you, since you're still on the stand under oath, you can't talk to any of the attorneys or Mr. Hurd at this time until your testimony is done, okay?
Okay.
All right, and we'll be back at 11:45, okay? All
I
right.
got to stay here the whole time?
Yeah, you have to stay there the whole time. You can move.
Oh, okay.